Hey everybody, my name is Ryan, and today I am excited to share with you my Marvel Zombies Zombicide mission and map editor. This is a tool, or this is a resource that I've created using a tool called Figma that I wanted to sort of make for myself so I can make custom missions and share with the community in mind. So this is compatible with all Marvel Zombicide products out currently and future products as well. I will definitely keep this updated. This covers zombie mode in Marvel Zombies, hero mode in Heroes Resistance, and also X-Men Resistance when that comes out, and Heroes and Villains mode, my very own fan-made variant. And I'll put a link in the description to get this file as well as the Heroes and Villains mode variant. It's all free. Just the variant is like a PDF and like an image, and that's kind of it. And then this is in Figma. So Figma, the reason why I'm doing it in this is, so first of all, this is like the de facto UX UI product design, which I do for my day job, software. It is totally free for what we're using it for, and it is really easy to use. There's a much lower barrier to entry or lower learning curve than like Photoshop, for example. I think it's just a great tool for homebrew and print and play and stuff like this that hobbyists like us would do for things like a mission editor. And yeah, and so you'll get the link in the description. There's one thing that'll look a little different than this view here, is that you'll get something like this, where it'll be a view only because you're looking at my publicly shared view only file. So you'll need to click on this little drop down. You have to sign up with a free Figma account to get into it and all that kind of good stuff. And then once you've done that, then you click on this little down arrow for this menu, and you'll want to duplicate to your drafts, and then that will put a copy of this file on your account only you can see that, not even I can see it from the original share, and you can edit to your heart's content and make copies of it and all that kind of good stuff. So we'll go back to the other view here so we can see all the edit controls. And then another thing that you'll probably run into when you're first starting up Figma is that this Pages button will probably be collapsed, or this area will be collapsed. So you'll need to click on this to expand that so you can see what you're working with here. So the different pages here are the covers. We're looking at the mission, templates, and map editor, which we're going to be doing most everything in. Multi-page export to PDF, we'll go over that at the end. And components and styles. Main components live here, please don't break them. And that's just for you, for your own help. This wouldn't, if you break anything in here, it won't affect me from my original share. You don't have to worry about that. And yeah, so I guess the other thing I need to mention is that this is just like a how-to on using this mission and map editor, but also for the Figma absolute beginner. So the video will be a little bit longer, so it kind of covers everything for everybody, hopefully. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat, message me or whatever. Like, I have my contact info on here. You can just click on mission templates and map editor, or you can click on the handy button to get you there. And let's dive in. So okay, so using Figma, just kind of the basics of getting around. Clicking on the pages we talked about, and then so to zoom in and out, you on a Mac, you can hold Command and mouse wheel in and out, or PC, Windows, it'd be Control mouse wheel in and out. You could do the old trackpad pinch in and out, Control/Command, and the two-finger trackpad to move around. Also, you can hold the spacebar key and you'll get a hand like this, and you see my spacebar going wild because I'm holding it, and click and drag it to pan and move around, get around this way. Oh, I didn't know that did that. That's fun. Yeah, so that's kind of the general way I'll get around. You can also hold the Z key and like draw a box to zoom in on something specifically, but then my favorite other way is to Command and mouse wheel in and out. You can also plus and minus on the keyboard. So that's really the basics of getting around and kind of viewing things in Figma. There are other things like you've got your kind of standard copy paste, and I use option drag. That's the wrong thing. I use option drag on a Mac or alt drag on a PC often to just duplicate something, and we'll be I'll be probably mentioning that a bunch. And yeah, I think that's about the basics. Oh, another thing, like you get yourself very lost and you don't know where you are and you're freaking out, you can always hit Shift 1 to zoom to fit. You can also let's see, depending if like you have the desktop or the web app, you know, there'll be view options and things like that. Of course there, and then you can always right click to try and find other things. There's also the quick actions, which is command / on a Mac, or command or control / on a PC, and you can search for just about anything. Zoom, you can find all the different zoom options. Okay, so diving in now to the content of this thing. So start here, right? You want to in order to build your missions out, pick a mode, pick a mission template, assemble map and components, save and export. I also have this this font available for download here. It's on an external site. I didn't mean to open that. For this Devil Dog font for those headers, you can download that. That's totally free, and it would allow you to edit these fonts. The rest are like Google Web fonts that are going to be fine. That you don't need to download a special font for. Oh, and if you do this though, if you get this font or you ever want to use custom fonts on your computer, you'll need either the Figma desktop app on your computer, or you will need to get the Figma font support download. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's on the Figma download page. It's something about fonts, and if you're using it in the browser, you would need that to install that thing too. And it'll let you use any custom fonts that are on your machine, and they'll render in here great. Okay, so mode. What is mode? Well, it's zombie mode, playing as zombie heroes, hero mode, playing as superheroes, and heroes and villains mode, playing as heroes versus heroes, and heroes versus villains, and villains versus heroes. I call them PC heroes. It's all in the rules and stuff. I'll try not to talk about and try and like sell you on my thing too much, but yeah, just that's the difference between these different modes. So let's see, you pick in a mode, like I like this one, and the template is just the two templates right now, at least, of a one-pager and a two-pager. You'll notice when you look at the missions in the official products and books that they're laid out all kinds of different crazy ways, and you can go wild and you can do the same thing. It's pretty clear and open. You can do whatever you want with these. I do have some helpers in here, such as auto layout, to help with certain things. Like, so for example, if you know you've taken this description out and you're writing a longer description, for example, then it'll automatically push all this stuff down. This particular little box of tiles represented is really really tricky with this, and rather than making it even more complicated for someone who's not super familiar with like the auto layout, which is like an advanced Figma feature, it's just static, and you just kind of draw a box and grab it and move it around, and you know you can option drag. You know what? This is not lined up, and this is a good example to I will fix this, but also to show you kind of how to work with something like this. So like, let's say this is all cockeyed like this. There is this thing in the upper right panel that's called tidy up, and you see it's a little set of squares, and now it's tidied them up, and then you can go for the spacing and change those to say 0 and 0 or whatever you want it to be, that many pixels apart, and then hey, you know, it's nice and cleaned up. Likewise, if you like option alt drag, you know, to get copies of these things out, you can again go up here, tidy those up, make it so that the spacing, let's see, what is it actually called? It won't tell me what it's actually called, but that spacing would, you could reduce that to 0 and have that kind of layout going. Yeah, so, and then, you know, you can, then again, you can punch in like type in any information you want and do that and move that around. You can draw a box to grab all this. You can also shift select, like I'm holding shift and I'm selecting these things to select multiple things and move those around. Whenever you want to resize something, and I've got a real reminder here, about some key things. An option or alt plus drag to duplicate, shift plus drag edge or corner to constrain proportions. So let's say you wanted this to be smaller or larger for some reason. Actually, this is not a great example because this isn't made to scale, and it really shouldn't. But these are a good example. So you know, let's say that your document doesn't have a whole lot of room, and you really need to make this thing smaller. And if you do it this way, things are going to get weird and bad. So you'll want to hold the shift key to constrain the proportions so everything scales nicely. You can do that from the corners, you can do it from the edges, all is good. If you wanted to rotate, like let's say you wanted to rotate this map tile, or better yet, maybe this one, you'll see in the corner that when you have it selected, you'll see a corner like this double curvy arrow, and you hold shift to constrain that to 15 degrees at a time and rotate it that way. I could do the same thing with this one. You know, I want to rotate this objective token and put it somewhere else, that kind of thing. All of these contents, you know, everything is totally editable, and so, you know, by center cards, like, oh, it's actually going to be 3, and this is my sort of catch-all for, like, I'm not going to scan in or whatever every single character in, like, of the hundreds of characters that are in the thing. So so if you want this to be, you know, Magneto, then you just say Magneto here, and you've got an A, you know, that corresponds to the A here, and Magneto's in the zone, and your rules will say like Magneto starts blah blah blah, what have you, and it could be anything, you know, and you can type, you know, you could type something different here. You could see maybe that I'm hitting the T key to do this, so you can click and click and click and click to get into it, but a better way is to just hit the T key or hit the T up here in the text tool. And then you'll see the cursor changes when you get over that text, and you can click in there and you can backspace and you can type something, you know, or you can, when you're while you have the T, and actually it goes over even when there's no text there, which is handy, you can hold the T and you can like select something and change the name of that thing or change the text in that thing. And let's see what else. You mean you can move this stuff? Oh, here's a good one. So this is a layer that's behind these layers. It's not like encompassing it. It's not nested. So you might need to hold the command key on a Mac, Control on PC, and draw a box like this to multi-select these items, and get that going. Sometimes you may want to deep select something, which means like you wanted to get to this A and you don't want to hit the text tool for some reason. Well, now it's letting me do it. That's funny. What did I break? I made a new text there. That's hilarious. Yeah, that is super funny. Well, that's broken. Okay, so don't delete that thing. Okay, looks like this was good now. I could tell from the layers panel what I was working with. So this special right here, it's got the A nested in there. All right, so you know, you might want to deep select something. So if you hold Command on a Mac or Control on PC and click, then you'll get drilled right down into that thing rather than having to like double click, then double click, then double click to get into something specific. So like this, if I wanted to tell it what tiles these are going to be, I can hold Command on a Mac, Control on PC, and click it, and I've deep selected. I've bypassed like all these different sort of nested layers that might be here, and I can then double click it to get into the text mode and start editing it. Let's see what else. But otherwise, you know, again, hitting T or the text tool and just selecting what's already there and typing away will also get you where you need to go. All right, what else? This mission info box is actually set up responsive, so the bottom bar will just kind of will just work as much as you shrink or move things around for this particular box. You shouldn't need to edit or mess with the pages. It's not going to be set up to work right because it's not made to do that, because it's a page. It should be static. And then if for whatever reason this auto layout, sorry for the jumping around, just kind of reacting to things as I sort of see them, but for whatever reason the auto layout doesn't really work for you, then you can actually do away with it. And actually, since I was reacting to things, I want to show you one more thing. Is that when you select this whole auto layout frame, you see these come up, these pink areas. This means you can expand or contract the spacing between everything. So you've got a big mission and you've got a lot of rules or a lot of story or something, and you really need to tighten everything up. You could do it this way. You can also do it, as we had kind of seen earlier, in the different. Actually, no. This is the same but a little bit different. So this is a vertical space between items you see in the auto layout section in the design panel on the right, and you can drag. You'll see like there's a double arrow that comes over here, and you can drag this, or you can type in a certain value. Like I want it to be 50, and there now it's 50. But anyway, you can do away with the auto layout if it's making your life hard, by simply clicking the frame that's an auto layout. You can tell it's an auto layout because it says so up here, as well as there's a certain type of icon that shows in the left panel for auto layout, like these stacks, the stack of lines for vertical, and then there's this stack of lines for horizontal items. So yeah, you can select an auto layout frame, you can minus it from here, or you can, here's another one, because I can see there, it's there, I know that it's there. You can right click it, and you can remove auto layout. So kind of whatever way works for you. You can ungroup it, and then and then you can be, let's see, and then there, let's see, it's still a frame. So if you really want to break things, you can then ungroup that. So a frame is Figma's kind of better version of what we typically have known as groups, like using Photoshop and stuff. And so now it's totally free and open. Like I can move things, just manually and freely as I want to. Or if you really want to kind of use auto layout, you can sort of work out how to do things there. I'm going to go back to auto layout real quick. So something I just thought of that's helpful is that, like, let's say the way your page is flowing, that you really want special setup to go here because your map is like longer than it is taller or something. You can actually grab this frame here and drag it to that spot there, which is pretty cool. Or you can rearrange things if you needed to, like this, and it just kind of pushes things around. All right, that's a bit in the weeds there. Hope that wasn't too crazy. And let's see, so you've got your beautiful mission set up. Or no, let's say you're just getting started, right? So I'm going to delete this one. Try not to use any of these. Try to always copy, paste, or duplicate them. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to zoom in this area. It's going to paste into the middle of my screen. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start my new mission. I don't know what it's going to entail for here, so I'll just go ahead and remove that. This one too, I'm not sure about that. And then you can start writing it up, whatever you want it to be, or what have you. And then you could bring in the tiles, like you're reviewing the tiles, and of course the tiles they're marked. Here's 1R, 1V. They're also marked in the layers, in the actual layer, in the layer panel, and all of that, and R and V for reference. So front and back, right? And so, like, let's say you're like, okay, I want to build a mission. I'm going to include this one, and I want this guy here, and this one. I'm not saying what I'm doing, but I'm option dragging or alt dragging to get those over here. So like, okay, these are the tiles that I want. And so then, just to kind of show you like how I would put together a mission real quick. So I will then grab all of these and hit the little tidy up button here, and then I will space these at 0 for each, so it's all nice and tight. Everything's in place how I'd want it to be, and like, okay, here's my mission layout, right? I'm like happy with this. This is great. And then I want to start putting in spawn zones and exit and all that kind of good stuff. So may as well just grab all of this and option or alt drag to copy it over. I know this is zombie mode, and zombie mode has green, and it's also labeled here. This uses something called a variant on that main component. So ZM, zombie mode, HM, hero mode, HVM, heroes and villains mode. So I'll get rid of these two because this is a zombie mode mission, and I can just option drag like these things over and start putting them in here. Of course, you'll notice that the missions. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. So like this is weird. All of a sudden I can't grab this thing anymore. What's going on here? It's just behind it or in front of it. So grab these things that you want them to be in the back. You can right click and say send to back. Yeah, send it back. And then you can start putting stuff in front of it. You could do it in the layers panel too, but it's a lot faster. Just like right click it and set it to the back. It's no big deal. Okay, I'm gonna move these things over here so I can work better with it. Like, okay, here's my one spawn point. Here's my green one. I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna rotate it. Again, hold shift to rotate that so it's nice and clean in 15-degree increments. Like this door is gonna be open to start. Oh, it looks kind of big. I want it to be smaller. So you could do that, hold shift and drag a corner and make this smaller. Likewise with any of these other components, right? Like these are just way too big. Like, what? This isn't the right scale. I want it to be exactly the right scale, so I'll do it. Oh, just accidentally grabbed myself a copy of that. Oh, I forgot to hold shift there, so it got wonky. And then you want a bystander to go in here, so on and so forth. You got a special area, and I want to be able to mark that and put that in the rules and what that is, and put more objective tokens and things out. And then from there, just drag a box to select all this stuff. You can group it if you want. You can right click and hit group. Where's group? Yeah, group or Command G or Control G. And then take that, put it over in here wherever you want it to be. And then you can get the mission info box and drag that in and start just laying things out. You can put like, okay, this is the start. I'm gonna drag this over, a copy of it, and this will be like zombie. If I can type, zombie heroes start zone or whatever it's called. And then just keep on doing that. Bystanders this many, and then you have a special bystander that's in there, and you have this thing, and you can call it out. You can shrink this too, right? Just kind of make it smaller, give yourself more room. And then just look to the missions in the book to kind of see like the sort of patterns that they use of how they sort of lay out like spawn points. They just kind of call out which ones they are and just generically say the number of them for reference and all that kind of stuff. You'll see it. And then in here, you can, like, I've got 1R, 7R, 8R, and 2V. So I would go hit my T text tool and type in 1R or not. 1R, thank you. 7R, and don't worry about the spacing. I'll fix this before you actually get it. You'll see it fixed when you get this file. When you get access to this file. 2V, and then kind of move on with life. And then, okay, so I've got my beautiful mission. It's all set up. It's perfect. It's great. I've play tested it. I love it or not or whatever. And you want to save and export it. You want to print it. You want to share it to the interwebs, and yeah, all that kind of good stuff. So, this, like, my intention for this is like this to be this sort of playground sandbox area when you're building the mission. When you're kind of done with it, you can just kind of store it over here, and Figma constantly auto saves all your work. It'll never go away or anything, but you can always, back this up or save it or what have you. So I have save and export instructions here. Figma auto saves your work. We talked about that. And then to export this, basically, follow these steps. Select the frame. You can select it by clicking on the name here. You can select it by clicking over here in the sidebar, and you can rename it. You can double click this and you can rename it to whatever you want it to be. And then let's see, you've selected the frame, and then over here in the lower right hand panel, this will be collapsed by default. I had exported this before, so that's why it was open. But yeah, you can click on export here. And then you can select, I recommend PDF. It's going to be like the most crisp and have nice selectable text and all of that. And then export that and then save it to your computer. And let's take a look at it. So there, whoa, my goodness. There it is, your beautiful mission and selectable text and all that kind of good stuff. Ready to go. Now, if you want to do a multi-page PDF export mission, you want to create a book, a campaign or whatever, you can do that. Just a little extra trick. This is a supported feature in Figma, but there's a quirk to it, and so the workaround here to be able to do that, I'm going to delete that. I don't recommend you delete them, even after you've saved them, just keep them. You can make a new page. You can hit the plus here, add a new page, and add like yourself an archive of all your missions. But anyway, you want to do a multi-page PDF. So like, let me grab these template pieces, and let's say for argument's sake that I've saved it over here, and it's my finished mission. It's beautiful, and I've added like an artwork of Thor here or what have you. And then let's see. So I'm going to copy these. I'm going to paste them into this multi-page export to PDF page in Figma. There's nothing special about this. It's just that when you go to export, multi-page export a PDF in Figma, it will just take all the frames from that Figma page. So if we did it from here, it would take these two and everything here that's a frame and make a PDF out of it, and we don't want that. So this is just a temporary holding area for that function. Hold, there's other ways to find this, but this is probably the way I recommend. Hold command and do / or control and / for the quick actions bar. Type in export frames to PDF. It'll take all the frames from this Figma page and make a PDF out of it. You can name it whatever you want, and you save it. And we're going to take a look at it. And is it this one? Looks like it. Yep, there it is, our beautiful mission with selectable text, a true PDF that's multiple pages. All right, I think that about covers it. If you have any questions, need any help, have any recommendations, things that you need here that isn't really provided or is not clear, please, put a comment in or contact me. You have all of my info, and I want to keep producing stuff for this amazing, wonderful game, and try to help keep expanding on it, and try to help the community, to expand and make more goodies and stuff. But yeah, that's the mission templates and map editor. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I'm forgetting here. I don't think so. You'll see updates live, in real live as I do them. So yeah, again, open to suggestions, comments, feedback, ways to make it better, ways to make things clearer. And thanks so much.